Guys, welcome to Mr. Investor Real Estate Dojo. Today's topic is about understanding how closing works at escrow. Okay, and so there's many different types of transactions out there, and I'm going to break each one of them down and help you understand how closing works. So whenever we go do creative financing, you have a better understanding, so you're able to explain to your seller or customer. Okay, subject matter, what we're going to talk about is a cash buyer. That means a buyer that wants to buy a house and they have cash. They don't need to go to a lender. And this cash buyer is going to do a transaction with a seller that owns this house clear and clear. That means the seller does not have a lien or a mortgage on the property. And I've looked online. There's a lot of great gurus out there, a lot of great books, but there's not really any visual explanation for you to explain how the closing works, unless you've been you're a real estate agent or a mortgage broker, or you've been in the industry. For most people, it's kind of confusing. So I wanted to go ahead and draw out some stick figures and help you reveal the real secret that happens at the escrow company and what really happens. Okay, and this is a quick crash course. A lot of things happen, but with this is the meat and potatoes. You're able to go out there and do deals. Alright, so once again, cash buyer doesn't need to go get a loan. Is going to get into a transaction with the home seller that has this house clear and clear. And this is the way it's going to look like. So in this case, you are the investor, the buyer, investor. And this is the seller. So you're going to do some marketing here to get this seller to call you. And once the seller calls you, you use your negotiation skills and what you've learned from me to be able to put the property under contract by creating a win-win situation. Okay? And what's going to happen is that once you meet with the seller and you guys come to a win-win terms, both of you guys meet in the middle. That's why it's called a win-win, and you guys sign a real estate purchase agreement or a contract to buy the seller's house. So you're going to offer the seller X amount of money, and the seller's going to offer you his house in return. Okay? So, and that's going to be done on the contract, what the terms of the contract are. Alright? Once you guys determine the terms of the contract, the next thing that's going to happen is that whenever you go to closing, you're going to give the seller cash for his property, and what he's going to give you in return is a deed which basically the seller transfers his ownership of the property to you. So in a nutshell, in a situation where the buyer has cash and the seller owns their house clear and clear, this is what's going to happen. The buyer and seller get together, they come to a win-win situation, they put the house on the contract, the buyer gives the seller cash, and in return, the seller conveys the deed to the buyer or transfers the rights of ownership to the buyer. And that's basically what happens on a all-cash deal where the homeowner or the seller owns their house clear and clear. Okay, now this little step right here, this little two-step, what I call it, is called escrow, and that's going to happen in escrow. Okay, so the basic idea is that this is escrow, this is the buyer, this is the seller, and what happens at escrow, and now you get to see it on stick figures. Okay, hopefully that helps you understand what happens on a normal transaction when there's a buyer with cash and a seller that owns their house clear and clear.